Well, we've had the Magarey medal, mate. A big weekend coming up Sunday, of course. Eagles up against North Adelaide in the grand final. It will be an absolute beauty.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. It'll
Well,
be a cracker.
Often you get to the players and find out how they're feeling about it. We thought we'd take a different tack and we go to the umpire, Rowan Hundertmark, who's umpiring on the weekend. Firstly, congratulations on the grand final, mate. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Mate, is it a nervous time for an umpire? You know, they talk about the players the night before. How do you sleep? You know, what about you, mate? How are you night before a grand final?
The night before the grand final can be full of nerves. Sometimes we don't get to sleep all that well, but I really enjoy the build-up, and once we're out on the oval, the nerves disappear.
Second one for you, mate. So the experience of having the second one, you think you'll sleep any differently Saturday night?
Yeah, I think the build-up for this grand final will be different. First one was full of nerves for the week before, but this grand final, I'll just enjoy the process and the build-up to the grand final, and then once the day starts, then we switch on once we're across the white line, as they say.
Fair, you've had a fair apprenticeship too, mate, because you've been in emergency a couple of times and whatever. This must be a thrill. You have to wait to get a phone call, don't you? You have to wait to get a phone call from the umpire's coach. Is it Shane still? Is it?
Yep, yeah? Shane Harris.
Shane Harris, yeah. So he rings you and tells you either you... does he ring you if you're not umpiring, or he only ring you if you are umpiring?
Shane has called me on a number of times on the Monday after the preliminary final, and unfortunately 3 times they were to be emergency for the grand final, but this year was a little bit different, and I think he was very excited to tell me that I was running.
Yeah, so he rang you on Monday. So you see his number come up?
Yep.
Yep, it says Shane. And you go, oh, here we go again.
Number 4.
Do I answer this thing or not? That's a nervous time for you, isn't it? That 15 seconds or whatever.
Absolutely. Seeing Shane's number pop up on my phone, the thought did cross my mind, do I answer this or let it go to message bank and call him back? But once I heard the tone of Shane's voice, he was pretty excited, so I knew it was good news. So,
mate, you're in with Mitch and Corey, the 3 of you for the umpire. You got a good relationship, good understanding, work with each other during the year?
Yeah, absolutely. Mitch Harris, very experienced umpire, doing his 3rd grand final, and Corey Bowen doing his 5th grand final. So we have a long history of training together, pre-COVID, 2 nights a week, and also umpiring plenty of games together. So once the balls bounce on Sunday, we'll be very good, fine. Well,
we've got to talk about that, don't we? We've got to talk about the bouncing.
Yep.
The bouncing of the ball. A lot's been said. Chris got out a go at Razor about his bouncing. He was bouncing about as high as his own head, which was about 4 feet. But my point about all that, mate, was if you've got 3 umpires there, one of these guys has got to be a really good bouncer. You're all pretty good at it, but one guy or a couple of them be really good. So when there's a goal kick, why wouldn't Razor go to one of the other guys and go, hey, mate, how about you slipping in here and getting this away again, and I'll slip out the half-forward flank? Why doesn't that happen? Is that ego?
It's not ego. We try and share the workload. Obviously, we don't get rotated off like the players, so we are out there for the full 4 quarters. And sometimes the workload for a good bouncer, he may have had a majority of the play for the last 5 minutes, so it's Ray's time or whoever the bouncer might be to step up and bounce the ball, and it's a skill, we practice it, and 9 times out of 10 we'll get the ball straight. Yeah,
look, I don't doubt that. I think, it was only that little period with Ray where he was struggling, but that's my point. I mean, hey mate, I'm struggling a little bit, help me out here, I'll go to the flank. Because after a goal is kicked, and you guys have got to go back to the middle, or someone's got to go back to the middle, do you know where you're going, or do you have a little quick chat, I'm in, or whatever it is, or do you know where you're going?
We know where we're going, so we know once that goal's kicked, we're up to bounce a ball in the middle of the oval, and you've got to walk in there confident and think that you'll get it straight.
Hey, Rowan, I'm interested in the GPS, mate. They talk about the players and the distances they run. Do they track you guys over the course of games? You got an idea roughly what you'd average a game?
Yeah, in an average game we would run somewhere in the vicinity of 13 to 14 kilometres. On a bigger oval, like a Woodville or even Adelaide Oval at times, we'll get up to 17 kilometres on a really fast-paced game. But yeah, generally it's around the 13 to 14. But the type of running that we do is very explosive for 5 minutes, and then we might have a break for 2 or 3 while we rotate.
Yeah. That's interesting, isn't it? They do cover some ground.
That's what I'm saying. I understand you don't have the physical contact, but you touched on it before. There was COVID where you were running as a 2 times a week, but obviously you're doing your own running through that time. What's an average week for a field umpire, running-wise?
Yeah, so this year, 2020 has been completely different. We haven't been training as a group, so we've been left to train by ourselves. We do have a program that gets sent to us every week, and we try our best to train and follow those. I found this year to be a little bit different because we don't have the recovery facilities that we normally have, like an ice bath or trainers for massages and recovery. But a normal week would be training on a Monday and Wednesday, and then a game on Saturday or Sunday. And depending on what day we're umpiring, we'll try and fit in a slow jog recovery run on there too.
Mate, a lot of the footballers, when they finish the season or finish their careers, want to do a marathon. It still staggers me why they want to do that. Are you one of those guys that thinks about, wouldn't mind running a marathon?
Yeah, I've run a marathon. I come from a running background, so it's a strength of mine running, and I do enjoy it, absolutely. So, yeah, I love running, so absolutely I like to tick that box when I finish up.
Always been an umpire, mate? Always wanted to umpire, or how did you get into umpiring? How did you do that?
Yeah, I've been umpiring now state league for probably 10 years, and I came from the Southern Football League, so I used to umpire Ranella or Morford Vale, and also do Great Southern, so Victor Harbour versus Mount Compass, etc. And I started umpiring juniors, and then worked my way up, debuted under 19s when it was under 19s in the SANFL, and worked my way up to league level, and I've been a regular league umpire now for probably 8 to 10 years.
Mate, you had a game in the AFL. Is that still an ambition for you to get back to the AFL, or are you just comfortable where you are?
Absolutely. I'd still love to be given an opportunity at AFL level. I think that I have all the capabilities and the desire and the want to get back to umpire at AFL level. And if I was lucky enough to get a phone call, absolutely, I'd take the opportunity. For now, I'm concentrating on SANFL and Sunday, and if that's at the back of my mind.
Oh, we know Sunday's a big grand final for you, mate. Just quickly before I let you go, there's normally a few yakkers out on the ground for you blokes, plenty of blokes with encouragement and advice for you, mate. Which team gave you the most this year?
Oh, South Adelaide. They've got a few key players that like to share their opinions, but it's water off a duck's back. We try not to get involved, and you know, they're out there. They've got white line fever. They're excited, and it's all part of footy, and that's why we love it.
That's great understanding, mate. I like that because you know, sometimes you think the umps are robots or whatever. They understand that the players have got issues. The players, when they come across that line, it's full on. It's absolutely full on, and they're going to say a few things. So I think that's a great understanding. Yeah,
well done. Hey, Rowan, good luck on Sunday, mate. It's a big game. It's going to be a beauty. Good crowd in. It's going to be a great battle between the Eagles and the Roosters. Stay with us. Still plenty to come on the show.